Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, if you can hear me and see me good, please let me know. We'll give some people a few minutes to get on in, and we'll get started. But a lot of interesting discussions, I think, we'll have tonight. Hey, Laurel. Thank you. Pat. Let's see. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. You see, I've got the sheriff of Pima County, which is the county in Arizona where Nancy Guthrie lives and Annie Guthrie, where all this is taking place. And I've been trying to give him and his agency the benefit of a doubt from the very beginning. I'm not quick to jump on agencies, obviously. It's just not my thing. I've been there and didn't like when people did it to me. And so I've been trying to give them the benefit of a doubt. I've even gave some excuses for them, and I think I can't no longer do that. Now, there's a lot of information that I know now and have come to learn that I think it all comes down to this sheriff. Oh, let me get my directions right. This sheriff, Chris Nanos, and I think he has a lot of issues. I do not think he's a good leader. And we're going to go over all that. And I'll tell you all exactly why I'm feeling this way now. And we are going to go into some of the mistakes that they have made. It keeps getting worse. The more I find out, and the more I find out about this guy, the less I like him. And the most telling that description, I guess you could say, I've heard about him come from none other than his retired chief deputy. A chief deputy that was there for, I think, around 40 years, literally. And he retired, I believe, 2 years ago. And he worked under Chris Nanos. And he had some interesting things to say about him. And so I heard those things, and I'm going to play the footage of him and the things he said. And then after that, I find out that allegedly they located a glove inside of Nancy's residence early on in this investigation. And instead of them sending it to the FBI's crime lab in Quantico, he sent it to a private lab in Florida. Now, I'm not against private labs for a lot of things. Most of the time, if it's between a state lab and a private lab, go with the private lab every day, because state labs all over this country are slow, ridiculously slow. I do not understand why some of them are so slow. And I can definitely speak for Alabama's. And in Alabama, the Department of Forensic Sciences is on getting evidence back, analyzing evidence and getting results back on certain things can take up to 3 to 4 years. Yes, you heard that right. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. When I was in narcotics, there was a lot of times if we needed a quicker turnaround on some drugs that we would send, we would use a private lab. And a lot of private labs, it's still admissible in court, whatever they find. So that's not an issue. But in this case, with the FBI there telling you, we're here, we'll help you in any way we can, and then him sending that to a private lab when, trust me, in this case, any evidence they get that they send to Quantico right now is going to be, top of the line, first thing analyzed in Quantico. It's going to be a ridiculously quick turnaround. So this man needs to be removed from office, honestly. And not just because of that. Like I said, we're going to get into more. But that is a very bad sign. That is, I don't want the FBI here. Get out of here. We can do this on our own. Well, Mr. Nanos, no, you can't. And that's obvious because you've botched this from the beginning. And again, anyone that's been watching my lives lately knows I've been making excuses for them to give them the benefit of the doubt. But now that I know more about him, no. Because now I know the issue is him. This was not some simple mistakes. This was him with his ego, and there's no telling what all he's messed up with this case. There's no telling. And then in the middle of this, he is seen out at a college basketball game. Are you kidding me? So this man doesn't care about getting a case solved. He doesn't care about finding Nancy Guthrie. He cares about himself. And if you followed me for a while, you know how I feel about those type of sheriffs. And I'm afraid he is very similar to some that I've spoke about in the past. Let me play this. So this is
local law enforcement agency.
This is Rick Castigar. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Kastigar, and he is, as I said earlier, the retired chief deputy of Pima County Sheriff's Office, and he retired approximately 2 years ago, and he worked directly under Chris Nanos. And if you're not familiar with what the chief deputy is at a sheriff's office, it is the number 2 man. A lot of larger sheriff's offices have more than one chief deputy, but there's always one main chief deputy that is second in command, and the other one is third, fourth. So I don't know if they have multiple or not, but I know he was the second in command for a long time there. And let me get it pulled up. And we will hear. So he was on a podcast earlier today. And in a minute, I will tell you what podcast because I want to give them credit. I just don't have it right in front of me right now. But this was today. This was live today. And I caught this, and it made a lot more sense now of who we're dealing with of this Chris Nanos. Make sure if y'all can't hear this, make sure to let me know, but you should be able to.
Local law enforcement agency, i.e. the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the agency I put in 46 years with, it should have been turned over to the FBI. Now, sadly, I know the personalities of many of the individuals that are high up in that organization. I was actually one of them a couple of years ago, and the egos are voracious in their appetites. So I have seen the current sheriff tell the FBI in a previous investigation, maybe 3, 4 years ago, hey, we don't need your help. Um, we got this. And as a matter of fact, if you want to know what a real investigator is like, come check us out. That's ludicrous, and it's egocentric and troubling to me as I sit here today. Local law enforcement agency.
So, oh, excuse me. So that's who we're dealing with. And it speaks volumes coming from his former chief deputy. I'm not 100% sure how it works. Well, yes, I am, because he said. So it works the same way as it does in most states. If you're not familiar, the chief deputy is literally hand-picked by the sheriff himself. So it's going to be that sheriff's most trusted person. That's who is going to be the chief deputy. That was this man for a long time. And again, he retired approximately 2 years ago. But Chris Nanos handpicked him to be his chief deputy for years. And that's what he has to say about him. And I mean, he just is speaking a fact of what happened, of what he personally observed and saw. He said about 4 years ago, the FBI came in on another case to try to help and was wanting to assist them. And Chris Nanos, the sheriff, said, no, we're good. We don't need your help. And in fact, if you want to learn how to really investigate, just watch us. Well, we have watched you. And it's not good. So, yeah, there is no doubt in my mind that he at first tried to refuse help from the FBI on this case. I guarantee you. And I guarantee you they rushed through some things because of him, because he did not want the FBI involved and to have any of the evidence. This man. It's unreal and unbelievable. Someone in that position would care more about their ego than bringing someone home safe. It's unreal. But again, I'm almost positive that's what's happening here. I do not at this time believe Chris Nanos cares about Nancy Guthrie, as I said. I don't think he cares about solving this case. He cares about his ego, and he does not want the FBI coming in and taking over his investigation, which is ridiculous. And I heard another comment today that came from a very reliable source, from a federal agent source, that said most of them don't even know who is actually over this investigation right now. They don't know if it's the FBI or the sheriff's office. Well, now I know why that is. Because I guarantee you Chris Nanos is refusing to accept their help, and he is refusing to just turn it over to them. So things don't work the way a lot of people think. They don't work the way they do on TV. And this is a really good question. So Tanya asked, how does this work? How does that work? If the FBI comes in, how can he refuse to let them take over the investigation? It's very tricky. It's a gray area. You're probably going to hear 5 different answers if you ask 5 different people that knows about this stuff. But it's not like it is in the movies. The FBI can't just come in and take over any investigation just because they're FBI. It does not work that way. If there is a nexus between any type of interstate commerce and the case, then the FBI can take over the case. And in some cases, that's tricky. Some cases, it's very easy to determine that, such as if a kid gets kidnapped and he's transported across state lines, that's the FBI all day. They can take over that case because it's going to span across multiple jurisdictions, if that makes sense, in multiple states. Well, so far in this case, and I don't know all the details of this case, so I don't know what all they do know. So I'm not saying that they have not been able to prove that nexus. But I'm saying just looking at this from the outside in, it's not obvious that they could. Such as far as we know, they don't have any evidence that would say she's in Mexico or another state or something like that. Now, with the ransom letters, emails, then I think that would probably be pretty easy to establish that nexus. But again, it's complicated. So the point I'm trying to make is there are sometimes it's very easy. Here's the thing. This is rarely ever an issue. I've never seen it be an issue. When any case that I've personally been a part of at all, when any federal agency stepped in and said, hey, we want to take over, here, like good sheriffs and good police chiefs don't turn that down. They don't want to be over it. So it's not a problem you normally have to deal with at all. It's very rare. But here we are. And I think that, again, that is my speculation of what's going on right now. But with now finding out that allegedly they located a glove inside Nancy Guthrie's house early on in this investigation, and instead of him turning that over to the FBI so they can send it to Quantico where their crime lab is, he sent it to a private lab in Florida. That's crazy. That is nuts. And who knows when the private lab is going to get it back. But again, I can guarantee you if this was sent to Quantico with this case, it would have been as quick as a turnaround as humanly possible. And here we are. I also believe the first day of this investigation, he should have called the FBI. And if he would have, they would have immediately taken over, and we would be a lot further along than we are now. Trisha, that's not necessarily true either. The sheriff, so like Nanos, the sheriff, he can't keep them out of the investigation. He can't do that. Again, as long as there's some type of nexus, making it a federal case. And in most cases, that's, again, pretty easy. So, but he can stay technically in charge of it versus just making it way simpler and saying, here, this is y'all's. We'll assist you however we can. And so, and again, that's how it normally works almost every time. Again, it's not like you see in the movies. Trust me, it is not normal for any agencies in this country to be sitting there and fighting over taking a case. It's the opposite. I know in the movies that's what they do. That is not in real life. It's, no, this is y'all's case. No, this is y'all's. That's the way it is. I mean, I've seen that tons of times. And unless you're in a situation like this idiot, I would hate to work for him. There's no telling what all he's putting his investigators through. I'm not putting any of this blame on them. There's no telling there's no telling at this point how bad he has screwed up this investigation. And that is just unreal, just crazy, ridiculous. One second, I'm going to play that one more time for the ones that just came in. So I'm going to play this video very quick if you missed it a while ago. This is Rick Castigar. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, Kastigar. And he is the retired chief deputy of Pima County Sheriff's Office. He retired approximately 2 years ago, and he was the chief deputy of Chris Nanos, meaning Chris Nanos handpicked him to be his chief deputy. And this is what he said today on a podcast.
Local law enforcement agency, i.e. the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the agency I put in 46 years with, it should have been turned over to the FBI. Now, sadly, I know the personalities of many of the individuals that are high up in that organization. I was actually one of them a couple of years ago, and the egos are voracious in their appetites. So I have seen the current sheriff tell the FBI in a previous investigation, maybe 3-4 years ago, hey, we don't need your help. We got this. And as a matter of fact, if you want to know what a real investigator is like, come check us out. That's ludicrous, and it's egocentric and troubling to me as I sit here today.
So again, that's pretty telling coming from his previous chief deputy, because again, that's going to be the sheriff's most trusted person because they handpick their chief deputies. Then, so we have that on top of, we know they screwed things up in the beginning. We know that. And now today we find out about this glove and that he sent it to the private lab, and then hearing his previous chief deputy say this about him, I think I know all I need to know about him. And on top of, he spent last Saturday night at a NCAA basketball game instead of worrying about this. And I'm pissed at myself that I gave him excuses and tried to take up for them in the beginning, honestly, because it was not deserving of him. But you learn as you go. I do think there's a decent chance with how bad he has screwed this up and the things that people found out about him now, that either he's just going to get tired of all this and just have to step down pretty much, or he'll get voted out the next election, whenever that is in Arizona. There's just no place in law enforcement for this type of man. None. And again, unfortunately, I know a few of them like this, and they're all the same. They are all the same. And it also, and again, if you've been following me for a while, you know this, it always throws up a lot of red flags to me when a sheriff or police chief does not want outside agencies involved in any of their investigations. Always throws up a lot of flags. Now, I'm not alleging anything here. I'm not saying that I believe Chris Nanos is corrupt. I'm not saying that. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying it does throw up a lot of red flags, knowing that he has definitely in the past refused the help of the FBI and more than likely tried to do that again this time, but it just got too big. And I think it would have been, if he would have just all out still kicking and screaming refused this time, I think it would have been too big of a story. He wouldn't have been able to do that. He would, and so I'm guessing that's what happened, that he just gave in because he knew how big this was getting. But again, that's some major issues. Again, we're not talking about some petty theft case, stolen car. We're not talking about drug cases. We're talking about a human life, an 84-year-old woman victim. That time is the most important of any case in a abduction, kidnapping. Time is the most important thing, obviously, by far, out of all the other cases. And he's being him. So I hope everyone realizes that. I hope all of his constituents realize that. I hope every citizen in Pima County in Arizona realize that. Again, we know they screwed up a lot of things in the beginning. And also, don't misunderstand me. I'm not putting this on the deputies, the investigators, or anything with the Pima County Sheriff's Office. I don't know any of them, obviously. And I'm not putting any of this on them. This is all his fault. Because I can tell you, one of the things that I teach, and I've been teaching for a long time, is leadership. And I go around and teach leadership classes. And the stories I've heard, man. So I can almost immediately realize and recognize how hard it would be to work for him, especially as an investigator. Like, say, if the lead investigator on this case, my God, his life is he's probably on the most blood pressure medicine you could ever be on, and psychotic medicines, and just to get by. Honestly, it would be miserable working for a man like this. And it's, again, that is what I think that is going on here. But yeah, no room for egos. None. I got you, Christy. You're good. None. And I'll be the first to tell you there are too many egos in law enforcement, for sure. That's a big problem. That's a big problem with leadership in law enforcement across this country. Law enforcement leadership across this country wants to blame the reason it's so hard for them to keep their full manpower is because of what's going on out in the world today. And people are mistreating police officers and disrespecting them, and that's bullshit. Now, that is going on, and it makes law enforcement a lot tougher to work in. Go ask any law enforcement officer that's quit in the last 10 years why they quit. They're going to say their upper leadership. They're not going to say because of what was going on in the world, because it's not what it was. We do have a leadership problem in law enforcement, and it's mainly an ego issue. And this guy seems like he is the leader of that group. It pisses me off so bad because, again, what we're talking about. This is a human life. This is an 84-year-old woman that none of this, she didn't deserve any of this. And because of his ego, things have not been done right. So let's move on to the rest of the discussions of this. So we got the backpack. Here, and now this is not the actual backpack that was on the suspect in the video, but this is what is believed to be the exact backpack. I thought I had the other. Here, let me pull up the front. Yeah. So this is what is believed to be the exact type of backpack that is on the suspect in the video. And I've seen a lot of people saying they don't think it is. Now, I can't be 100% sure by any means. However, I do think it's, I think it probably is. But definitely not. I mean, I don't think anybody could be absolutely 100% sure at this point. But I think there's a really, really, really good chance that this is the exact same type of backpack. Now, the more interesting thing is the new video from the same, allegedly the same night that Nancy was taken, but what do they say, about 5 miles away, I believe. Where this guy, and I'll pull the full video up in a minute, where this guy was trying to get into a backyard of a residence the same night. And let me pull all this up so I can show y'all the reason I'm thinking some of the things I'm thinking, because this is getting very interesting for sure. There it is, right in front of my face. Hold on, let me rewind it. And there's not really any sound. I mean, you can hear a little shuffling and ruffling around, but other than that, let me make this bigger. Hold on, let me pull. I want to see something. So I believe that is the exact same jacket. Let me pull up those so we can do a little comparison. I believe this guy's wearing the exact same jacket and backpack as the guy in Nancy's video. Oh, wrong picture. Let's do this. If you look at where the pockets are, and I'll pull up the other video, full video in a minute too, and we'll watch them and then do a comparison as well. If you look at where the pockets are, this jacket is gray. I'm almost positive on that. And if you look where the pockets are, it looks the same. And it looks like he has this, there's something that's semi hanging out of his pocket. If you look at the bald guy and look right below his right elbow, there's something either written on the jacket or hanging out of pocket or something right there. And I'll have to pull the actual video up, the other one, so we can see it. But you can see the same. I'm telling y'all, I'm almost positive it's the same jacket and backpack. Because on the bald guy's backpack, you can also see let me see if you can see it on this. Yeah, you can see it on this one. So you can see that on the top of the backpack strap where it's glowing pretty much. You see that same stripe right here on this guy's backpack, on the top of the backpack strap. And then you see the black strap. So on the masked man's right shoulder or right chest, you see the main backpack strap, and then you see that extra little strap right to the right of it. You can see what I believe, anyway, is the exact same extra little backpack strap on this guy's right shoulder. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure. So let me make sure I'm clear on that. But, man, it's close if it's not. There are a lot of similarities here. And also, there are times in the bald guy's video where you can see he's got something kind of in his mouth. And again, I'm not positive. So don't, act like I'm an idiot or something here. I'm just saying what I believe. And I think there's a decent chance it's the same little bite flashlight that he has in the other video. I think there are a lot of similarities. Now, here's another possibility. As I said, I think last night, I don't believe there was just one person at Nancy's house. So, and as I said then, because we see that other still, we've got that other still pic from Nancy's house as well. Let me pull that up. This one where I don't think there's I don't think this guy has on a backpack. And it does kind of look like maybe he has different shoes than the other guy. But again, I can't be sure by any means on this one for sure because he's so far back, the distance of him from the infrared camera. But I do think this is definitely the exact same jacket that the other guy has on. That's what I said last night. Same gloves, same jacket, probably same face mask, which would not be odd for them to have gone and gotten the same things. So if this guy, the bald-headed guy, is not the other guy, then he could be this guy if this is a different guy. It's just, I don't believe in coincidence. And for this bald guy to be doing what he was doing the exact same night, 5 miles away, that's hard to argue against with all the other similarities in the two. Now, let me catch up on some comments because I'm sure there's some very opinionated people out there. Can you put the pic of the backpack logo next to the pic where you can see? Yeah, I will do that in just a second. Sure will. Nest cam guy didn't have a hoodie unless it was behind the backpack. I don't think the bald guy has anything to do with it. Yeah, the eyelashes do look the same too. They sure do. I forgot to even mention that a while ago, but yeah, I'm glad you said that. He has been ruled out. Terry, where did you see that? I don't think that's true. The only way he'd been ruled out is if they caught him and got him in custody, and I think we would have heard if they had taken someone that's in custody at this point. Yeah, this is not Carlos, the guy from the other night. No, that's a completely different person. Yeah, the bald guy is not the Carlos guy that they had in custody and questioned the other night. So that may be what you're getting mixed up. So, but yeah, like I said, and Psychic Rider said, same eyelashes, or very similar anyway. Can't say same. Very similar. Again, there is, in my opinion, there are too many similarities here to not think that there is a great possibility, more likely than not, that this guy is also involved in Nancy's thing. All right, let me pull the pictures up that somebody asked about a while ago. So we got that. And now keep in mind, I don't know how many different, say, I guess, types or styles of this Ozark Trail backpack there are. Because on the bald guy, and I'm not for sure, but it seems there may be some red on there. But then you can also see like a triangle, or to me, what appears to be a triangle on this backpack, on bald guy's backpack. Looks like again, it appears to me to be a gray triangle, which would be very similar to the Ozark Trail triangle. So, man, these are close. I'm telling you, too many similarities for me. I'll leave that up for a minute. Terry, where did you see they have spoken to the bald guy? I'm not saying you're wrong. I want to see it too. No, I agree. Okay, so somebody said, well, let me find the comment. And yeah, somebody Teresa said she don't think Carlos was cleared. We don't know that Carlos has been cleared. Unless I've missed that update. We know they released him. That does not mean he's been cleared. I can't find the comment, but there it is. I was looking on the wrong place. So if the bald guy has something to do with this, wouldn't him being 5 miles away trying to break into someone else's place mean that him breaking into and kidnapping her that it is a random thing and not planned? Yes. Now that is definitely a hiccup with my theory that he's involved. That part would not make a lot of sense to me. Because yes, if this guy is involved in Nancy Guthrie's, the fact that he's over here at another residence doing whatever up to some kind of mischief would be very odd. But let me remind y'all, everything about this case so far has been very strange and odd and not been the norm. So one of the theories has been that, well, since the other video came out at Nancy's, that it is possible that this was people just out randomly. Well, I don't know if I'd say randomly. They probably had it, would at least have it scoped out. But what I'm trying to get to, there is a possibility. Now, I agree it's small, very small possibility, but there is a possibility that whoever was at Nancy's house, that was supposed to be just a home invasion robbery type thing, and they got in there and things went bad really quick and turned into whatever the hell happened. Now, again, that's a stretch. I'll agree. And then also going back to the guy on Nancy's porch, as I said last night, very, very strangely calm. But did not appear to be professional. So that makes me come to the conclusion that whoever was at Nancy's front porch was very, very comfortable with that residence, which would mean possibly a neighbor, someone that lives in that neighborhood, or someone that has done some kind of work around her house, lawn guy, pool guy, those things, or a family member or close friend. Now, again, any of those doesn't completely rule out the bald guy, but I do agree it would be very strange. But just going off of the similarities, man, there's too many similarities, like I said, for me to ignore. For me to just say, I don't think this guy had anything to do with it. There's too many similarities. And so that's what I'm trying to say. There's too many similarities for me to just say, I don't think this guy has anything to do with it. There's just too many. But yes, there's a lot that still doesn't make sense, logical sense. But again, nothing with this has made logical sense yet. No, if Fox News said that, I'm telling you right now, there is no way the FBI has cleared that person unless they have actually talked to him. There's no way, because again, there's too many similarities. So that's too close for them to just completely say, no, he's cleared because of something, without having him in custody and questioning him. Now, I'm not saying that hasn't happened. It would surprise me if that has happened and they haven't put that out, though. But that brings me to a funny thing to me. And let me bring that up. This cracks me up. Let me make this bigger so y'all can see it. So I saw this just a little earlier on New York Post. It was on, I think, Facebook. Authorities are looking to question a man seen carrying a backpack in newly surfaced surveillance footage near Nancy Guthrie's Catalina Foothills home on the night she vanished, according to reports. Man with backpack spotted near Nancy Guthrie's home the night she vanished. So they're wanting people to help identify this guy, and they have his face blurred out. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. That just, I don't know. it's just one of those things. I'm like, again, can't make sense out of that either. Which nothing with mainstream media surprises me. But anyway, yeah, but yeah, I want to hear y'all's thoughts on all of this. I mean, I know I've heard of some of you, but don't be afraid to. I'm curious. Like I said, I'm curious. I mean, I'd like to hear anybody's thoughts. The last press conference, God, I don't know that there's been an actual. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that there's been an actual press conference since like day 2 or something like that. Again, now I know why. This fucking sheriff is a horrible leader and doesn't know what he's doing. Because I've been saying all along, there should be more. This is getting way too much coverage. There's way too many people watching this for you to not have a few more press conferences every once in a while. I'm not saying have one every day by any means, but you need to give the press and citizens something. That helps with all your phone calls. I mean, that helps with the investigation a lot of times. So I don't understand. Well, yeah, I have the pic of him not blurred. I had it up a while ago. I just saw that post by the New York Post and it just cracked me up. Yeah, this is a close up from that video of the bald guy. And I'm just calling him the bald guy for lack of better terms right now, just to keep them straight. So, no offense to bald people. I'm getting close there myself. So, hey, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. And if you're new here, if you're not following me, please follow, subscribe. I really appreciate that. And my normal lives are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 p.m. Central to 10 p.m. Central. But when there's something big like this going on, I try to jump on any chance I can. And then you can catch I have a full podcast. You can find that on anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and then YouTube and Rumble. So this article by so my team just sent me this article by NBC News saying that this guy's been cleared, but it contradicts itself. It said here, let me just pull it up. All right, so man seen in security video near gate of Tucson home is cleared and Guthrie disappearance, official said. But then it goes on to say law enforcement officials have cleared a man seen near the gate of Tucson home. According to two officials briefed on the matter. The video, which was shared on the neighborhood app, circulated online, blah, 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 blah. Two backpacks near the gate of a home at 1:52 a.m. That home is 4.2 miles from Guthrie's home. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said it is aware of the video and is looking at all investigative leads. It did not say it's in any way connected to the Guthrie case. Y'all see what I'm saying? They're saying that authorities say he's cleared, but then it just says they didn't say he was connected. So I'm confused. And also, you can't go off timestamps like that without. Now, I'm not saying they haven't completely verified, but timestamps are often wrong. Some people's changes with daylight savings time, some people's don't. So you have to go back to that source, that camera, and verify for sure that on that night, which was 2 weeks ago now almost, that the time stamp was correct on that night. Now, again, they may have, I'm not saying they haven't done that. I'm just saying there's more involved than just, well, it said on the camera, it said that. You always have to verify that because I'm telling you, more often than not, and any investigator will tell you this, timestamps are wrong more often than not, unfortunately. It gets very frustrating. So, I don't know. I mean, it looks like there's a decent chance they have cleared him, but I'm not putting my money on that yet, for sure. Again, especially considering apparently that came from the sheriff's office. I have no trust in anything they put out at this moment due to their sheriff. Like I said, man, there are a lot of similarities there. That is, wow, that would be crazy. It would be crazy to me if they're not connected somehow. Nancy said, why was he sneaking around where he wasn't supposed to be? No, that guy was definitely up to no good. The bald-headed guy for sure. No doubt about that. And if anybody does, and team two, if y'all come across a source that's saying he's been cleared but words it differently than NBC there, let me know. Because again, that didn't make a lot of sense to me the way they worded that. But I may just be overthinking it. because again, if the FBI hasn't said that, I'm not going off the sheriff's office clearing him, because it's a possibility they may have just cleared him because of the timestamp. And you can't do that, which I would hope. At least, I'm sure this dumbass sheriff doesn't understand that, but I would hope at least some of the investigators do. I'm sure, hopefully, but. What do you think about the TMZ emails? So, I've heard straight from the TMZ owner that the first email, note, letter, whatever you want to call it, is in the form of an email, obviously, had details that only someone involved in her disappearance would know. However, I don't think I've heard that anywhere else. And so this whole time I've been banking on that and saying, well, hell, it has to be. Like I said, from the beginning, I do not think this was ever a kidnapping for ransom. I don't think that at all. Nothing would make sense with that. I don't think that. What I did think was whoever was involved, someone involved, did send the email ransom just to try to take heat off of what actually happened. That would be kind of semi-logical to me. But now, knowing that I haven't seen that or heard that detail from really, like the FBI hasn't put on a press conference and came out and said that letter had things in it that only someone involved would know. So now I'm beginning to wonder, and I'm not accusing the owner of TMZ of this. I'm just starting to question if he just lied about that to try to bring more credibility to that letter because it was sent to them. Because if that's not true, then no, I don't think these letters have anything to do with who was actually involved. Not a chance. Again, that's the only reason I've been saying that from the beginning, is because I took his word for that, just thinking, well, he probably wouldn't say that unless it was true because all the eyes are on this or whatever. But now the more I see, and now they're getting more letters, I don't think so. So my overall opinion about the emails are, I think they're BS. And I question if TMZ's not doing that themselves, just to be honest with you. Again, I'm not accusing TMZ of that. I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm saying I'm starting to question that. And if it does come out that it was them behind those emails just trying to get their ratings up, that owner his ass better go to prison. 100%. Yeah, and somebody made a good point about if they think the guy was wearing layers of clothes. And I 100% believe the guy on Nancy's front porch was wearing multiple sets of clothes. It's too bulky the way it looks. We know he's wearing double gloves at least, more than likely wearing double mask. It also looks as if he's probably got a couple of different layers on his upper body. So he definitely could have had double layers on his pants. And that may be why the bald guy has different pants on in this video if he was involved. Again, let's say the timestamps are not correct, which is very easy. Because, again, let's just say, again, this is just speculation, obviously. Let's say the timestamp on the bald guy is an hour off because theirs didn't automatically change from daylight savings time. Then that makes it look even more suspicious. Again, it would be hard for me to believe this is not the exact same jacket. There's like same type of jacket and same type of backpack. That would be hard for me to believe at this point. But again, yes, speculation. I mean, all this is speculation at this point. Yeah. Psychic Writer said, hell of a coincidence. And I'm telling you, I do not believe in coincidence. I don't. I learned a long time ago. In my opinion, there's no such thing. Michael, I agree the body shape is different. But again, I am almost positive he's wearing multiple sets of clothes. So, I mean, and that may be why he's wearing multiple sets of clothes. So his body doesn't look the same. Arizona doesn't change their time at all, the whole state. I'm moving to Arizona then. Are you sure? I didn't realize that. Yeah, so that would be that makes me think there's even more of a chance the timestamper's wrong then. Because that means the cameras may still change. I would give anything if we would throw out that BS daylight savings time change. That's the dumbest thing ever. That's one thing Arizona's got going for them for sure. I mean, it's a beautiful state too. I'm not saying that's the only thing they have going for them. Don't get me wrong here. It's a beautiful state. So yeah, that makes me think there's even more of a chance that the timestamp could be wrong. Again, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying you absolutely have to verify that. Because my experience, I'm telling you, more times than not, timestamps are wrong, especially in businesses. My God, I don't know if I've ever had a business video and the timestamp was correct. I don't know if I've ever had a business video and the date was correct. But yeah, unless the FBI states that bald guy has been cleared, I'm not clearing the bald guy. Oh, I keep seeing people talk about the hoodie. Let me see. Let's pull the, you can't tell from that one. Yeah, let's pull the porch guy back up and let's check out See what we think about a backpack. Or, I mean, a hoodie. I don't know that you can tell from there, but let me pull up a different picture. Oh, that's no better. Let me see what else we got here. I don't know that you can tell. Let me pull up the full video. I can't tell from any of those. I think there is a hoodie on there. Let's see. Let's blow it up some more. Y'all tell me what you think. I think there is a hoodie there. Now, again, I'm not saying that's 100% fact. I do believe there's a hoodie there, though. And that's the thing. Let me. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people saying things like, "No, that's not the same guy." If you say that, your opinion is irrelevant to me because that's like Nobody can say that. Not us. Not us just watching these videos. There's no way you could absolutely, positively say it's definitely not. You can't. So, and I see, nope, not the same backpack. You can't, again. Now, I'm not saying it's the same backpack, but I'm telling you, they are very similar. But if you're just, nope, not, you got to open your mind. You got to be more open-minded when you're investigating something. You have to. You can't just come out and say that without, I mean, you have to be 100% sure on something. And a lot of things we're talking about, there's no way for anybody to be 100% sure as far as us. Now, investigators may know more, details, and well, I'm sure they do know more and stuff. But as far as for us, you can, one of my main phrases that you'll hear me say a lot is more likely than not. And I say that a lot in court, too. So, because if you're not 100% sure, you can't say that. You can't say it as fact. You just have, again, that. But if you get in your head, no, it's definitely not, then nothing nobody else shows you from that point on is going to change your mind. You're not purposely doing that. It's your subconscious, but you just have to keep your mind open, and you have to be willing to change your opinion on things when you see something different. You don't want to stand by your first statements just because you're afraid people will say, "Oh, what an idiot! He thought this at first." Or why does he keep changing what he thinks or whatever? I hope I'm making sense. This is discussions I have to have with little baby investigators when I'm teaching. You just keep your mind open and keep that phrase in, more likely than not, when you think something. But yeah, I do believe that's a hoodie on the porch guys. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe it is. It looked to me like it was. Michael, what do you mean? Why did I time you out? I don't know what you mean. Lots of people were asking about what's in his mouth. If you're talking about the porch guy, that's a flashlight. I'm almost positive on that. I've reviewed, and then numerous other people's comments on that as well. I'm almost positive that is a flashlight that he bites down on when he turns it on. And there are different types of those that you can have. If you're talking about the bald guy, I can't tell. I think it's definitely a possibility that it's a flashlight for sure, but I can't. It's just from that video. As far as me, I can't really tell much more other than saying saying it's a possibility. Yeah, mechanics use those a lot. That's true. That's right, Eric. Those flashlights. Look like a cracked stem, but that's a possibility too. That's for sure. Yeah, Eric said, I can't believe only one person would be on a kidnapping of anyone. No, I don't believe that at all. Now, I'm also not sure that that was ever any type of planned kidnapping. But no matter what, I do not believe there was only one person at Nancy's. Whatever happened, or whatever was planned, I don't believe there was only one person. Walmart had some LED mouth guards for Halloween. I don't know if I've seen those, but I've seen little smaller lights that are specifically for your mouth. I think I've seen some of those on Amazon before. And then there's a lot of different smaller flashlights you could use like that too. So I don't know, but I'm almost positive that's a flashlight in the porch guy's mouth. So Michael's saying Fox News is reporting FBI has cleared the bald guy. Can somebody on the team see if you can verify that? Again, if the FBI's cleared him, then okay, I'll take that. It's just hard for me to believe they have, unless they've actually talked to him, like I said. Do we know the time the images were captured on the camera? Yeah, I think that's been the timestamps on the cameras have been verified as the Nest doorbell camera was disconnected at 1:47 a.m. and so the time we're seeing the porch guy is 1:45, 1:44 a.m., somewhere around in there. Just a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes before it was disconnected. If that, it probably wasn't 5 minutes before, but just soon before. I don't think the family knows if she's definitely alive or not. No, I don't think that. And if they have cleared that bald guy, man, that's crazy. Wow, there are a lot of similarities. No, the 212. Okay, so here I got the timeline. I know where some of you are getting mixed up on the 212. It makes sense. Let me see. All right, so here's the timeline. So February 1st, 26, 1:47 a.m. is when the doorbell camera was disconnected. At 2:12 a.m., software detects person on camera, not from that same camera. That's going to be from a different camera. And they weren't able to pull video, as far as we know, from that one because there was no subscription. And so it detected a person at 2:12. At 2:20, here I missed one. I need to add that to this timeline. I keep forgetting. So at 1:47 a.m., doorbell camera disconnects. Right at 2 a.m., there was a big spike in Nancy's heart rate from her pacemaker recorded back through the internet. So big spike in her heart rate, which would suggest, again, speculation, but would suggest that that's probably when it's more likely than not when she came into contact with whatever's going on. And so that was at 2 a.m. Then at 2:12, software detects a person on a camera. And at 2:28 a.m. is when her pacemaker disconnected, got out of Bluetooth range from her iPhone. So more likely than not that's when she was removed from the house, from the residence. And again, we know the doorbell guy, the porch guy, had to be before 147 because that's the camera that we're watching. And so it was pulled off and it was disconnected, jerked off of there at 1:47 a.m. And I want to say that they said the timestamp on that was at 1:45. I want to say, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't think it was a wired camera. So when they say disconnected, more than likely what happened is they removed the battery or smashed it or something like that. I believe the backpack had a large tarp, body bag. Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably a decent chance of that for sure. Makes no sense to take an 84-year-old woman from her house if it wasn't intended to kidnap. It makes less sense if it wasn't intended kidnapping. Like it does not make any sense. Somebody intended to go and kidnap an 84-year-old. Now, I'm not saying that's not what happened. I'm just saying it does not make any sense. Like 84 years old, tons of medical conditions, obviously serious heart condition, tons of medications. That does not make sense. Was there a garage camera? I'm not sure. We know they removed a camera from the roof a couple days ago, and so I'm hoping they were able to pull footage from it too, but we don't know. Yeah, no, the pacemaker didn't have a GPS on it, unfortunately. Is that area of Arizona just flooded at night with guys with hoodies and backpacks? Apparently, it is. I mean that's your normal at night. That I would more than likely car break. They're out breaking into cars. It's extremely rare for a burglary to happen in the middle of the night like that. It's mostly cars. Burglaries happen in the day between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. is when by far most burglaries happen, and most car break-ins occur between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. Homicide's harder to prove with nobody. Well, yeah, I mean, for sure. But if they're, which we don't know this, if their motive was, let's say if it was family and their motive was money, then you wouldn't want to hide you really wouldn't want to hide the body, because there's no guarantee that life insurance is ever going to pay unless you find them. So then that makes me wonder, if she doesn't have a subscription, why is she taking the time to recharge her doorbell cam? I'm not familiar with specifically Nest, but I would think it has a battery. I've not really heard she has a lot of money. Yeah, I haven't either. And again, there's a decent chance I'm not saying she doesn't. She didn't. But there's a decent chance she doesn't. For all I know, Savannah is, supporting her. I mean, that would make a lot of sense. A lot of wealthy people support their, elder parents. That's very common. Yeah, without a body, it's very hard to get a death certificate, and without a death certificate, you're not getting life insurance. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, because it does happen, but it's hard. It's a long process. Because trust me, insurance will find they try their best not to pay anything ever. So if they can figure out a way not to pay, they're not going to pay. Insurance is the biggest scam we have by far. Yeah, she can. Yeah, you can have a live view on the cameras without a subscription. Hey, good night, Rhonda. Yeah, I'm glad you did too. I'm very frustrated with TikTok. So if you went on last night, because I'm normally live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, uh, which was the case last night, and showing the same, like pretty much the same stuff we're showing tonight. And TikTok flags my live and saying I was showing nudity and kicked my live off and then banned me for like 3 or 4 days. Well, I appealed it and it still said, no, we've looked at your appeal and you're showing nudity. What? I hate TikTok. I despise TikTok. The only reason I stay on there is just because it pays better than any of the other ones. For me right now, anyway. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be on there at all. I despise it. Yeah, apparently I was doing the live last night naked, according to TikTok. I promise you that's never going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about getting on Kick too, but it's too much to keep up with what we do now. It's a lot. And once we build up the YouTube good enough, then that's what we're going to stick to. As far as the main platform, and I'll still post some things on Facebook, of course. But yeah, I had over 1,000 people on my live on TikTok last night when that happened. Yes, Regina, I'm on YouTube right now, as well as Facebook. Yeah, you can find me I'm on everything under Agent D Baker, except for Facebook, and Facebook's just my full name, Derek Derek Baker. But Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Rumble, TikTok is all Agent D Baker, and Instagram. And I just did my first podcast guest episode. I was a guest on his podcast. I don't know why I was wording it like that. With Chris Hansen. So y'all make sure y'all check out his podcast. Mine has not aired yet. I'll put it out when it's going to air. I don't know exactly when it'll air. We just recorded this week. But I'm going to. It sounds like more than likely I'll be on there pretty often. So that's a really big thing for us, for sure. But we've discussed some other things as well, collaborating on some other things. So I think that's going to be really big for us and should grow our audience pretty quick. Patreon. So I have my Patreon almost set up and ready. I would have actually had that done, but this case came up and this is taking up all my extra time. But yes, we will be putting out a Patreon very, very soon. And I'll also have a paid subscription part of Patreon too, where I'll put a lot of extra videos, training videos, preparedness, protection, those kind of videos, and some personal like personal life videos as well, like my personal story and life. So, but I'll put that out when our Patreon account goes live. But I used to have that paid subscription part of TikTok, and we had like 80 something in the first 2 months. We had 80 somethings paid subscribers on there. It was doing awesome. And I was putting a lot of cool, good videos on there. And then TikTok changed all of it. And so I haven't started it back yet, but we're just going to do that on Patreon. But yeah, the videos, the way I did it, and I'll do it the same way on Patreon with the paid subscribers, is anything any of the paid subscribers want me to make a video on, such as like any kind of protection video or preparedness or anything, then I'll make that. Like examples of that last when I was on TikTok doing it, like somebody asked for a elevator safety, how to protect yourself on an elevator and things like that. I did that, and then like a parking lot safety thing. So examples like that, and then I would do my EDC videos on there, my everyday carry, the things I carry on me every day, and then also my go bags. I went through one of my main go bags and everything I keep in there, which I've got a bunch. But a lot of people find those things interesting, and so that's what a lot of the videos under my paid subscription on Patreon will be. And then also I'm going to start a series of my personal life because I'm writing a book, but I don't know when it'll ever be finished. Like, I'm not putting a ton of time into it. Just every once in a while I'll write some about my life growing up. And just very quick on that for the new people, and then we're going to get back to the topic. My father's been in prison since I was 8 years old, and before that, I lived with my mother and father and was badly abused. Horrible household. Went through a lot of things, and luckily, he got sent to prison for a couple attempted murders and drug trafficking. And I was lucky enough for my grandparents to take me in, and they raised me, and they were great people. So the rest of my life was really good. But I'll be making some videos just kind of step by step about that and some of the crazy things that happened to me that I went through as a child. Some of the stories are just nuts, crazy. What's up with them finding a glove in the house? Yeah, so from what I understand, they located a glove in the house like early in the investigation. What do you think they did when the white tent was up? Well, I called it, and apparently I turned out to be correct. I figured they were recreating the Nest camera video so they could get exact height and weight, things like that, shoe size and things like that for the suspect. And it sounds like that's what they were doing. Yeah, we talked about that, Pickett, earlier on tonight. That's nuts. Hey, thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Yeah, make sure you all subscribe, follow, subscribe, and tell your friends and family, and check out my full podcast too. We got some really good guests that's going to be coming up in the near future on there. Aaron Spencer. So what's going on with the Aaron Spencer case? It's still in. We're still waiting to see if they're going to set a new trial date. They have appointed a new judge, and we're just waiting to see if they're going to set a new trial date. there's hope, obviously, that they end up just dropping this after all the mess that happened with that. But obviously, we don't know that yet. But I spoke with one of his very close family members yesterday, actually, and they seem to be in pretty good spirits right now, and are very excited about his him running for sheriff, and think they have a really good chance at that, and I do as well. Yeah, I'll keep you updated on Aaron Spencer for sure. So why did the tent? So they set the tent up so they could do an exact like recreation of the porch guy on the camera. So they probably set up an exact type of the exact kind of camera, and had where they could get the exact measurements and all that stuff of the suspect. And soon after that is when they put out the exact height. I think between 5'9" and 5'10". And what was the, hold on, I can't remember what the weight was. Let me pull that up. I made a post on my Facebook page about it. I know with all the descriptions. Oh, if Cooper Girl is on here, I just saw your other message on YouTube. I don't see you though. I don't know, maybe you're not. Yeah, so the description they have is 5'9" to 5'10". It says average build. And they suspect it was the black 25-liter Ozark Trail Hiker Pack backpack. And male. Yeah, so from what I understand, they found a glove early on in the investigation inside the house. That's the one that the idiot sheriff sent to the private lab in Florida instead of just giving it to the FBI and them doing it in Quantico. And then they located another glove like a mile from her house, I guess semi kind of on the side of the road, yesterday. Yesterday or day before. It may have been, it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. And I want to play this for the ones that wasn't on here in the beginning. I want to talk about this sheriff one more time because I want everybody to know who he is and what kind of idiot he is. So this is Chris Nanos. He is the current sheriff of Pima County Sheriff's Office there in Arizona, where all this is taking place. And hold on, let me pull the video up.
Local law enforcement agency.
So I'm going to play the video of this is Rick Castigar, Kastigar, He is the retired chief deputy of Pima County Sheriff's Office. He retired 2 years ago, approximately 2 years ago. So he was directly under. He was Chris Nano's number two. He was the chief deputy, which means Chris Nano's handpicked Rick to be his second in command. And this is what he was on a other podcast today, and this is what he has to say about his former boss.
Local law enforcement agency, i.e. the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the agency I put in 46 years with, it should have been turned over to the FBI. Now, sadly, I know the personalities of many of the individuals that are high up in that organization. I was actually one of them a couple of years ago, and the egos are voracious in their appetites. So I have seen the current sheriff tell the FBI in a previous investigation, maybe 3, 4 years ago, hey, we don't need your help. Um, we got this. And as a matter of fact, if you want to know what a real investigator is like, come check us out. That's ludicrous, and it's egocentric and troubling to me as I sit here today. Local law enforcement agency.
So between that and this idiot sending the glove to the private lab in Florida instead of the FBI, and knowing all the other mistakes they made, especially in the beginning of this investigation, I've learned all I need to know about this guy. And he is not a good leader at all. In fact, I would classify him as a horrible, terrible leader. And it all makes sense now. And so you heard it straight from his prior number two that about 4 years ago, the FBI came in and was going to assist him in a case, and he told no, we don't need your help. And in fact, if you want to learn how to really investigate, just watch us. Well, we've watched you now, and not too happy about it. So this guy's ego is a big issue, and that has no place in that business. There's no place for egos in that business, and it doesn't seem to me like he gives a shit about Nancy Guthrie or finding her. He only cares about his ego and not wanting someone to take over his case, which is very rare. Most sheriffs would absolutely, within a split second, be glad to turn something like that over to the FBI. 100%. It's very rare. Again, if you were on here earlier, I apologize, but I just want to go back through all this right quick for the new ones. It's not like you see in TV. On TV, you see it's like they look like local agencies and feds are fighting over, no, I want this case. No, I want this case. No, that is not the way it works in real life. In real life, it is the opposite. In real life, it's, this is your case. No, this is your case. Like nobody wants it. Everybody's trying to pass it off to another agency. That's just the way it is. So it's very rare for it to be the other way with this guy. And obviously, again, straight from one of his previous handpicked chief deputies, he has an ego problem. And we have all that. And then also, this past Saturday night, he was spending, having a relaxing night at an NCAA basketball game instead of putting anything into this case. So he doesn't need to be in that office. That is obvious. Very obvious. So I think he is a big issue. I think there's a decent chance that this case is not further along simply because of him. I would almost bet that at this point. Sheriff Barney Fife. Yeah, yeah. That's probably a yeah. That's probably a good comparison there. Could it be covering for someone? I I honestly I don't think that's the case. I think he's just his ego, and no, we're going to handle this case. We're the best. No, you're not. No, you're not, dude. No, I don't think he botched it on purpose. Again, I think he cares about one person, and that's himself. Again, I've seen this as you all have in someone. I know his type. Now that I've heard what I've heard and seen the things I've seen about it, I know his type exactly. They're miserable to work for, and they will screw up an investigation and case any day just because of their ego. Glenview, yes. Yeah, Smith did call the FBI on the little boy for sure. Yes. No, they can't just remove him. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. But I think after this, uh, I think I think he'll either be pretty much have to resign or at least get voted out the next election, whenever that may be. I'm not sure when their next sheriff elections are, but for sure. No, I don't believe they've paid $6 million. No. I'm pretty sure they're elected. Someone would correct me if I'm wrong, but sheriffs in Arizona, they're elected, correct? No, voting for a sheriff is not to be taken lightly. Again, if you're new here, go watch some of my podcasts and videos on the Walker County, Alabama Sheriff Nick Smith. By far the most corrupt law enforcement agency I've ever seen, and definitely the most corrupt law enforcement agency in this country right now. A little over 30% of their entire agency has been federally indicted in the past 12 months so far. There's more to come. It's crazy. It is nuts. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Bitcoin account of 300 had a ping from a cell phone today. I'm not sure. I haven't heard. So it's possible. I don't know. Where did you see that? had a 10 badge as a kid. So now I've not verified this. I'm just going to read this comment, but I am going to look into that for sure. Under this sheriff, the department has been under investigation by the FBI for nearly a year regarding the potential misuse of RICO monies. Yeah, I want to look into that and see. Again, I've not verified that. I'm just reading that from a comment, but I will check into that for sure. That would not surprise me. That happens for sure. Yeah, I can't read your name. I'm just gonna call you Dreamin'. Yeah, if you can. If not, would you please email that to me? Agent D Baker 315 at Gmail. Agent D Baker 315 at Gmail. That may be why he doesn't want the FBI there. Yeah, and I said that. I think I stated that earlier. That's always a big. It's always a big red flag to me when a sheriff or police chief does not want any outside agencies involved in any of their investigations. I've seen that. Every time I've seen that before, it's turned into something. I worked on I was part of a few pretty big corruption cases involving sheriffs in Alabama, and they all had that in common for sure. They had some other things in common, but that was for sure. They were always denying the state to come in and help on some investigations, and definitely didn't want the feds around. Which the feds can operate without them on a lot of things. I mean, they don't have to have, like, the feds don't have to have permission from a county sheriff to go in that county and work a federal case. In fact, I mean, I've worked quite a few where we specifically kept it a secret from the sheriff and judges, and because we didn't trust them in some counties. So you just have to run everything through the federal courts, through the assistant U.S. attorneys, and so it's a little more difficult. But yeah, you can do that for sure. Yes, Agent D Baker 315 at Gmail. I think Christy had a typo. Yeah, team, I see the Discord. I'll have to check and see where that location is in relation to Nancy's house. Because, I mean, that's probably not necessarily of an uncommon thing to happen in a city the size of Tucson. Is kidnapping itself by itself. Again, there just has to be some type of nexus that would fall under. I keep saying interstate commerce because that's, but I mean, anything that crosses state lines, anything to do with the internet, absolutely. So I guess the best way to put it is most of the time, yes, it would. It'd be very rare for an instant where it didn't. But just kidnapping in itself, no, it wouldn't. That wouldn't automatically be a federal crime. Yeah, anything to do with banking, money's being exchanged online, like the Bitcoin, anything like that, absolutely. Yeah, that would definitely make it federal. Even different southern state plates can get you speed trap. If I understand what you're saying, I think I understand what you're saying. That would fall in line with, yeah, like an interdiction unit on the interstate. And I was a highway drug interdiction agent for 2 years, right before I went to narcotics, and yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, if the kidnapper goes out of their state, then yeah, that definitely makes it federal. Like anything that crosses state lines, and then like I said, anything to do with like banking, Bitcoin, anything to do with money's exchange like that. Like I said, it's usually pretty easy to have to get some kind of federal nexus to it, or well, yeah, I guess that's the way to put it. All right. On that note, let me see. I think that was. Yeah, I'm going to run for the night. I appreciate each and every one of you being on here for sure. I've enjoyed the conversations, and hopefully we'll have more news tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be some big breaks very soon. I really think there's going to be with the video coming out and the moving on that stuff, and then now getting some hard evidence such as the gloves we know about and things like that. Hopefully something comes up with those. Yeah, Bitcoin would classify as it. Yes, it would. But yeah, hopefully we get something, and we'll see. More than likely, unless something really big comes up tomorrow during the day, then I'll be on my normal live time tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central. Again, it'll be Facebook and YouTube, so check me out. And we'll talk then. Other than that, I hope y'all have a good rest of your Thursday night, and have a good Friday tomorrow. Welcome back to Truth or Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, a retired narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran of OEF and OIF. With years of real-world experience in high-stakes environments, I have seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. These conversations can get raw, they can get heavy, and sometimes they may not be suitable for children, so consider this your disclaimer. But if you care about truth, justice, and accountability, then you're in the right